of the morning, my fellow peasants. I just crawled my ass out of bed after an amazing Tales of Berseria stream last night. It was so dank. To some really interesting Final Fantasy 15 stories, and these were kind of developing over the day yesterday, and it is getting messy. It's getting very, very messy. So I'm going to cover the stories. I was going to do these in like multiple videos, but I might just sort of pile it in all together. So the first thing I want to talk about is the collab, the recent collab. They've done two. They announced the Half-Life one, the Gordon Freeman outfit. I like that. I love Half-Life, one of my favourite games of all time. Played that game religiously when I was younger. So for all intents and purposes, me seeing this outfit in 15, I should be ecstatic. But I'll be honest, guys, when I saw it, I was just kind of I mean, I'm never really a fan of collabs. I think they do have their place. I just feel it's a bit disjointed, even the Half-Life one. Like, maybe a Nier Automata one, you know, throw that in, other than just the songs they put in. But then they took the biscuit, took the last pickle with this. Oh, what were you thinking? Oh, jeez, Sims 4. Sims 4 outfits for Comrades, the multiplayer. Another reason I wanted to cover this story is because it's getting quite a split reactions. And I think we know what those are. So it's half the people saying this is horrific, horrible, hating it, downvoting it. Then you've got the other half who come out and defend it. It's just a cosmetic, a harmless cosmetic. Everyone's going so overboard, so overreacting. Get over it. Now, I kind of sit somewhere in the middle. AKA, I do think that the fan base has a tendency to overreact with these kind of collabs, aka if it's not one that they like, they typically go way too alien on it. But then the other half, they're way too relaxed. No, people have come out and said to me, it's just cosmetic, it doesn't matter. And I've gone back and said, so what, no cosmetic matters? It doesn't matter how unfitting, how unsuited, how jarring it is to the style and the theme of Final Fantasy 15 or any Final Fantasy. It doesn't matter regardless. And some of them have come back and said, nope, yep, anything goes. All I'm going to say to those people is it's a fucking good thing you don't make games, because no one would buy them. Your games would be shit. Because faithfulness and integrity to the style of the game is really important, and indeed something that's really important to the developers. They spend years working on this stuff to keep things consistent, and to throw something like this in, it just makes it look horrific. But the main reason why I don't like this Sims 4 one, and for me it's pushing the boundary, and I kind of made a tweet about it, is this is about the bazillionth collab that has happened now. It's the quantity. It's not even so much the quality, it's the quantity. The quality is terrible for this particular Sims 4 one, and this list isn't even complete. I spent an hour this morning trying to put it together. I've probably missed stuff off, so if you know any I've missed, hit them up in the comment section. But these are going to be all the collabs in 15, and that includes not even the ones directly in 15, the ones where Square Enix have sold 15 to other collabs, other developers, for them to use in their games, because of course that still counts. You know, they are still making money off letting other companies use their IP. You know, it's free advertising, it's free money for them. And then indeed the ones where it's kind of been a circle jerk. So Square Enix, they gave them a little lob off, and then they gave them a little lob off back. So FF Terror Battle, the Sakaguchi Mr. Walker game that he did, the Alchemist Code collab, Blue Reflection. Sorry, I'll put them over here. Blue Reflection, Tekken 7, Brave Exvius, Mobius, everybody's golf. And then the ones where they return the favour, Assassin's Creed. Both we had the Assassin's Creed Festival and Assassin's Creed put in an Ardin thingamajig. Cup Noodle in the game. Then Cup Noodle made a Final Fantasy line. We had the American Express. You had posters of that in the game. Then they came out with an actual series of like banking cards that you could get for certain amounts of yen. Then we had the Audi R8. Nier. So the Nier one was quite small. I think Nier itself, they had the Engine Blade, Nox's Engine Blade in that, and then we only had music from Nier. I think that's as far as the Nier collabs have gone. That's the one collab I would have liked to have gone even further, because that would have been Maui. Then we had Afro, Jack, Coleman's, Half-Life, Sims 4, King's Knight, yada yada. The list goes on, so on and so forth. And there's already been a lot of people coming out and saying it feels like 15's losing its identity. You know, it's got so much other stuff slapped in. And the problem I have with half of these is you go through that list and you can instantly pick out the ones. Any sane fan, any sane game dev can easily pick out the ones that the fans would and would not like. And immediately with the Half-Life one, I thought, yeah, most people will be on board with that. The Sims 4 one, you didn't need to have to be a rocket scientist to know people would hate that. Hate that collab. It makes no sense. Could no one have anticipated this, of seeing this coming? Of course they did. And this is the problem I have. When you're throwing in collabs that you know aren't suited to the game, that you know the fans won't want, but you put them in anyway, well then you're selling out. I have been a defender of a lot of the early collab stuff, you know, when it's just like the Coleman's camping gear logo, and like an American Express, and it's something that, you know, flits in the corner of your eye in the game, you barely even see it. If Square Enix can make a shit ton of endorsement money, you know, make the product better and make the DLC better for something that's small and insignificant, well then I don't mind. That's something that I'll give a free pass on. But that's the problem. The game's come out, it's been a huge success for Square Enix financially, and yet they're still doing really tacky collabs that fans don't want, that they know they don't want, and they're putting them in. And that's when it's just all about the money. And that's the thing with 15, how much it's made. Like this could, you know, something like this Sims 4 collab, it could be something that they're trying to fund the 2019 content. I've heard people say that. But I don't even think it's the case that this is going to be funding the DLC. That it's made enough money. It's made plenty of money. At this point, the money they're getting, the endorsements they're getting, basically just padding the bottom line. That's all it's doing. It's just padding the pockets of the shareholders, lining them with schmeckles. But I don't even think that's really the case. I think probably what's bigger than that is it's just free advertising. I don't really buy into this idea that, you know, a game collabing another game really sells the other game. I think this is kind of like a false dichotomy. It doesn't actually work that way. No one's going to play Comrades, a kind of obscure offshoot of the 15 universe, the multiplayer. No one's going to put on those fucking horrific Sims 4 suits and go, oh, now I want to play Sims 4. Maybe it'll convince a few, but I don't even think it's really that effective. Yeah, and this is where I want to move on to the next part of the story. So this came out today about Tabata trying to please fans. We recently heard in the Nova Crystallis interview, actually no, it wasn't Nova, they just reported on it. It was actually some fans who sent this through via Twitter, and it was basically Tabata saying that he's thinking about adding a couple new endings to 15. And with these endings, he's asking whether fans want them to be happy or sad, happy ending or a super bad ending. Now this is kind of spread out throughout the community. Everyone has an opinion on it. Everyone's getting quite passionate about it. Before I even started reading the comments, I instantly knew what the answer to that would be. It's always going to be happy ending, no matter what, because fans, I've seen it, fans cannot deal, the majority of them, with sad, tragic endings. I've been along Final Fantasy long enough, and every time a Final Fantasy had a super sad ending, people went and wrote fan fictions, their alternative versions. People were saying they weren't happy with it. People find it really difficult to deal with sad endings. It kind of leaves them an unsatisfied hole in the middle of their chest. So there was no point in even asking this Tabata. And then I went to the comment section and it was, yep, happy ending, happy ending, happy ending, happy ending. Probably about 80% people were saying happy ending. And what does this mean? What's gonna happen? A lot of fans are thinking that this means, no, they're saying why you don't have to tweak the ending of 15 at all. Leave it as it was. It was bittersweet. It was good. That's what a lot of people are saying. I don't really think Tabata's talking about changing the ending of 15 as we knew it. So I think that's what the biggest assumption is that they're going to do something that's going to change the actual ending of the original game. I don't see that happening. I see something being more alternative, because we've seen, again, alternative timelines. That is a thing. The Omen trailer was a thing. Ignis, that had a whole different ending, one of them super tragic. So the concept of alternate endings, and alternate divergence in the story, ones that don't actually mean anything or change the actual original story, that's happening already. So the fact that we're going to have this 2019 content, and that's going to have episode Arden, faux show, episode Luna, I'm already going to say that's on the table. That's definitely happening. I think that's probably what he's talking about here. I reckon they're probably thinking about the story concepts for episode Luna, trying to think of what they want to do for that, and they're not sure which way to take it. And to me, that's a problem. To me, this whole thing is a problem because, in my opinion, stories shouldn't be written this way. You should know from the outset, from the go, where you want the direction of this story to go. Whether you want it to go into tragedy, whether you want it to go into happiness, and everything needs to build up and lead up to those events and moments. It needs to be intertwined and not just shoehorned in later. And that's really what I'll actually give credit for 15 for doing. They really built up that tragic ending for Noctis. He knew what his sacrifice was going to have to be. Then even episode Ignis came in. Ignis knew earlier on, and that to me was the one core strength of 15, is that it knew it was going to go for that tragic ending, that there was going to be no happy ever after, no bad guy gets defeated and everyone lives happily ever after. And even the whole Luna dying really early, I could have even found some kind of beauty in there. This couple that had been communicating and sharing this long distance relationship, and then the second they're back together, boom, before they even get time apart, they're torn apart. And that was super tragic, and I actually kind of thought that was bold in a way. I also I know that a lot of people are going to say, Pez, what you're talking bullshit. It was just a terrible... They just didn't even bother adding any character development between that relationship. I definitely agree that's an issue, but when they followed that tragedy through with the bros and Noctis going down, to now see them considering if they did go a happy ending, which if Tabata, if he's genuinely asking fans and he's actually going to take their advice, we're going to have a happy ending, and I fear it undermining the OG story. But on the same side, like I said, I think it could be an alternate ending. And this is something that Tabata's done before, where he gave a super, super happy ending to a super tragic ending. I won't say too much, but I'm talking about Type 0 here. And of course, Tabata was the director for that game. So to use that as an example for what he could do here, I think it's the best guess we have. So what happened in Type 0? Super tragic ending. And then an alternate version came up, an alternate timeline, exactly like we've got in 15, and that alternate timeline was super happy to the extreme. It had some like weeby music, like dial up. I'll play you guys a little bit of it. I'll just play you 10 to 20 seconds. Yeah, it was really OTT on the happiness. And that's the thing, Type 0, the tragedy in that game was so profound and striking that if they'd have made what was that ending actually canonical, I would have been fuming, guys. But because it was alternate and it was very clear it was alternate, that's why I didn't have a problem with it. And there was an explanation as to why it was alternative, that ending. And that's what I've been saying is the problem with 15, is the problem with episode Ignis, is the problem with the Omen trailer, is you've told us these alternate timelines, but there's no context to it. We don't know why they're there. We don't know how many of them they are. How does it tie into the story? It's kind of like the Umbra time travel thing. It's just a shoehorned in, omniscient plot element that doesn't actually integrate into the story that well. So that's where I stand on it. Personally, I would rather see your team do it from what they want, from what they believe, from what they think is the best direction. This whole asking fans, I really hate that. I don't think fans most of the time know what they want. They don't know their arse from their elbow. In terms of actually what would make a good story. And yeah, it is concerning to me that the story to you is this malleable. It's this improvised. Again, they didn't know they was doing this 2019 content. So it really is the case. You're making it up as you go along and asking for fans. But I'm gonna let all that negativity, all of that worrying, skeptical, I'm gonna put that to one side. I'm gonna let them prove me wrong. I'm gonna let them impress me. I'm definitely playing this Royal Edition, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. That trailer looked good. It looks like they're really focusing on the story, and that was what finally episode Ignis showed. Episode Ignis was story centric more than all the other bro stories, so Gladiolus, Prompto. It really showed to me that Tabata has finally clicked it in his head that story is important. Even though this is coming to the West, story is still more important to us Westerners, us Final Fantasy fans, than all of these gimmicky features. You know, snowboarding down the slopes is cool, flying and fishing and first person modes, it's all well and good, these little features, but you just have to get that story in place. So let's see where this goes. And as for this Sims 4 collab that can go get banged with a massive veiny hate that. Really, really hate that. Disgusting, horrible suits. And once again, I go back to that point of those people saying it's just a cosmetic. If that's the case, then where is the line? You know, there was that whole cup noodle thing with the cup noodle stand, and then Noctis had a cup noodle head. What if in Altissia there was a roast dinner stand? And the collab was with Aunt Bessie, and then Noctis came out with the Yorkshire pudding head. And then down the line... there's an old El Paso, and they bring out a Noctis fajita stand, and then a new cartoon is coming out. They're revamping, I don't know, Ben 10 or something, and they do a Ben 10 collab. And a movie's coming out, and a game's coming out. You know, Square Enix, they just do all of these collabs. They don't give a damn, and they just collect the money. And this game just becomes this hodgepodge mismatch of collabs. To you, that's okay. That's fine. There's no limit. There's no line in the sand. I don't know, they're revamping the Power Rangers, and there's a Power Rangers movie coming out. And then they're just, oh shit. You see what I mean? There has to be a line, surely. And if indeed there isn't a line to you, and any cosmetics go, and Square Enix can sell this out to any other game, they can collab with anything, it doesn't matter how jarring it is, how unfitting it is, it's fine to you, then that's okay. You are more than entitled for that to be your opinion, you can have that, but like I said, it's just a damn good thing that you don't make decisions on the game, because the majority of fans do not like it. To me it matters, and to the majority it does, and that's why this Sims 4 crap fest is getting pooped on. And this is what turns people off games. It makes it feel tacky, it makes it feel like it's a sellout. Well, that's exactly what it is a sellout, and this is what loses franchise integrity and respect. But there we go, guys, I'm out. What do you think? Hold on to your butts, pepper thy Angus's, and even though I'm an opinionated arsehole, if you have a counter opinion, honestly, please feel free to go in the comment section below and express it. No one's going to hold it against you, definitely not me. I never want anyone to feel ostracized from giving their opinion, just because I'm very impassioned in giving mine. But there it is, until the next video. Okay, bye.